Min-jae sat calmly in his wheelchair when suddenly he found himself being pushed toward the stage, a woman's voice cutting through the nightclub chaos. "Excuse me, gentlemen. Let me borrow him," she yelled with wild confidence. Before his bodyguard Taehyun could intervene, before Min-jae could process what was happening, he was moving through the crowd like cargo. The sheer audacity froze him in place. She spun the wheelchair around on the dance floor, dropped into a crouch, and looked him dead in the eye. A drunk American woman with warm brown eyes that sparkled brighter than the club lights. "Dance with me," she said brightly. Min-jae stared at this woman who'd just kidnapped a mafia boss in front of 300 witnesses, who smiled at him like he was normal, like the wheelchair was a minor inconvenience instead of his prison for 12 years. "Do you have any idea who I am?" he asked slowly, testing his English. "Nope." She grabbed his hand without hesitation, her palm warm and soft. "But I know you've been sitting in that corner for an hour looking like the world's saddest statue, and honestly, I'm offended on behalf of this DJ. This song slaps." Taehyun moved forward. "Miss, step away from." Min-jae raised one finger. Everyone stopped. He looked at their joined hands, hers tan and small, his pale and scarred. Looked at her flushed face and twinkling eyes, then at the dance floor where bodies moved with an ease he'd forgotten existed. "I can't dance," he said quietly. "Sure you can. Everyone can dance. You just need the right partner." She tugged his hand. "Come on. Stand up with me. Just try. I haven't stood in 12 years. Her expression shifted, comprehension dawning with horror. Oh shit. I'm so sorry I didn't." "Try anyway," he interrupted. "What?" His grip tightened on her hand. Something impossible was happening in his legs, not feeling, not quite, but awareness. Like nerves remembering they existed. "You asked me to try. So I'm trying." The sensation was agony and ecstasy braided together. Min-jae gripped her hand, her shoulder, and pushed. His legs trembled, muscles that hadn't fired in 4,380 days screaming protest. Sweat broke across his forehead. But inch by impossible inch, Kang Min-jae rose. The club gasped. The entire room gasped. 6 feet of lean muscle and expensive tailoring unfolded. His legs shook violently, threatening collapse, but he was standing. He was standing, and she was looking up at him with wonder. "Holy shit," she whispered. "Don't let go," Min-jae said, because the moment she did, he knew this impossible thing would end. So she didn't. She placed his hand on her waist, kept her other hand in his, and they moved. It wasn't graceful. Every step cost him everything. His legs barely obeyed, muscles relearning forgotten commands. He leaned on her heavily, this stranger who'd crashed into his carefully controlled world and shattered it with pure audacity. But they were dancing. The heat of another body close to his, the rhythm moving through him, the way her hair smelled, vanilla, cheap perfume, completely intoxicating. She spun slowly under his arm, accommodating his limitations without pity, and smiled up at him like he'd just given her the world. "What's your name?" he managed. "Laura. Laura Johnson. Laura." He tested the syllables. "You're drunk." "I'm confident." "There's a difference." Her grin was incandescent. "Besides, you said yes. That's on you, handsome." Around them, phones appeared like stars. The whisper spread in Korean. "Is that Kang Min-jae?" "He's standing." "How is he standing?" Min-jae didn't care. For the first time in 12 years, the world could watch. They danced through 3 songs. Min-jae memorized everything, the exact shade of her eyes, the way she laughed, how she adjusted her grip when his legs weakened without making him feel weak. She didn't ask about the wheelchair, didn't treat him like broken glass. She treated him like a man who could dance. "Why did you do this?" he asked during a quiet moment between tracks, when his legs were screaming and his heart was doing something dangerous. "Do what?" "Choose me. Out of everyone here." Laura looked at him the way she had from the beginning. "You looked like you needed someone to be a little bit crazy for you." Something cracked open inside Min-jae's chest, something that had been frozen since the night 3 bullets shattered his spine and left him half alive. "Thank you for being crazy," he said quietly. They danced until exhaustion became agony, until his legs weren't trembling but convulsing, until staying upright meant risking collapse. "I need to sit," Min-jae admitted, hating every word. "Okay." No judgment, no disappointment. Laura helped him back to the wheelchair, her hands steady and sure. The moment he sat, the impossible sensation vanished. His legs went dead again, complete, familiar paralysis. Like the last hour had been a fever dream. Except it wasn't. The sweat on his forehead was real. The ache in his muscles was real. She was real. Taehyun materialized immediately, wheeling him toward the back exit. "Wait," Laura called. "Your name. You never told me your name." Min-jae looked back. She stood alone on the dance floor, swaying slightly, backlit by club lights. An angel, a disaster, his salvation in a cocktail dress. "Kong Min-jae," he said. "Nice to meet you, Min-jae. The pleasure was entirely mine." Hey darlings, if your heart is racing right now, smash that like button, drop a comment telling me where you're coming from, and don't forget to subscribe. You do not want to miss what happens next. Then Taehyun was moving him through the corridor, into the car, into Seoul's pre-dawn darkness. "Find her," Min-jae said the moment the car door closed. Taehyun was already on his phone. Name? Laura Johnson. American. Min-jae stared at his hands that had held her waist, felt her pulse, remembered what it was like to touch someone real. Find everything. Where she's staying. How long she's in Seoul. Everything. The car smelled like leather and expensive cologne and the ghost of her vanilla perfume. Min-jae tried to stand again, pushed against the seat, commanded his legs to respond. Nothing. Complete paralysis. Like the dance never happened. Except it did. His muscles still ached. His heart still raced. And for 3 impossible songs, Kang Min-jae had walked. Because of her. Taehyun's phone conversation grew heated, Korean snapping back and forth. The problem was clear before he turned around. "Sir, there's no record." "What?" "Laura Johnson. No hotel registry under that name. No visa records that match. We have her face from security footage, but Taehyun's expression was grim. She's a ghost." Min-jae stared out at Seoul's neon-soaked streets. Somewhere in this city of 10 million people, an American woman who'd made him walk was disappearing like smoke. "Expand the search," he said quietly. "Every hotel, every hostel, every Airbnb. Check airport departures. Find her friends from the club. I don't care what it costs. Sir, if she's already left Korea, then find her in America." Min-jae's voice dropped to something cold and absolute. "That woman made me walk for the first time in 12 years. I will find Laura Johnson. And when I do." He didn't finish. Didn't need to. The car sped through Seoul's sleeping streets while Kang Min-jae sat in darkness, remembering the exact warmth of her hand in his, and plotting how to find a ghost who'd stolen something he didn't know he could still lose, his hope. 6 weeks later. 6 weeks of Min-jae's entire intelligence network, people who could find hidden money in offshore accounts, who could track criminals across 3 continents, failing to locate one American woman. She left the country, Taehyun reported on week 3. Flight to Texas. We have confirmation. Min-jae stared at the security footage from that night, frame by frame of her smile, her hands on his, the way she looked at him like he was worth saving. "Keep looking anyway." Taehyun shifted uncomfortably. "Sir, perhaps we should focus on your recovery. The doctors want to understand what happened. I know how I walked. She touched me and my legs remembered. Now she's gone and they don't." Min-jae's voice was flat, empty. "Keep looking." But there was nothing. Laura Johnson vanished like she was never real. Except he didn't imagine it. So Min-jae sat in his wheelchair and watched that footage and felt his legs stay dead and tried not to think about vanilla perfume. He was failing at that last part. Meanwhile, that flight Taehyun confirmed turned out to be a computer glitch, canceled 2 hours before boarding. Laura discovered this standing at the airport, bags packed, ready to forget Korea and mysterious men who somehow stood up just because she asked. System error, the airline representative said in broken English. Full refund. But no available flights for 3 months. She tried 6 airlines. Same story, peak season, holidays, everything booked solid. Her work visa expired in 4 days. Her savings account had maybe $300. And she found herself crying in an airport bathroom stall because sometimes the universe really likes to kick you when you're down. I can get you work, her roommate Sunmi said when Laura dragged herself back to the hostel. My agency places domestic workers with rich families. Good pay. I can't speak Korean. Some families want English speakers. For their kids. Plus you're American. That's exotic here. Laura stared at the water-stained ceiling. How good is the pay? Good enough to get you home. That was how Laura ended up in a maid's uniform at an estate that looked like it belonged in a drama. The head housekeeper, Mrs. Choi, walked her through the rules. The boss values privacy. No photos. No gossip. You clean, you cook when asked. You disappear when not needed. Got it. Be invisible. Mrs. Choi softened slightly. He's not difficult. Just particular. And he's in a wheelchair, so be mindful of space. Mrs. Choi opened the study door. Sir, the new staff member. Laura walked in, polite smile ready, and her heart stopped. It was him. The man from the club. Sharp jaw, dark eyes. That scar she remembered tracing with her gaze while they danced. Kang Min-jae sat behind a massive desk, laptop open, looking exactly like someone who could make her dance in a crowded nightclub. He looked up. Their eyes met. And his expression stayed perfectly, professionally blank. He doesn't recognize her, Laura realized, her heart sinking. The club was dark. She'd been drunk with different hair and heavy makeup. Different clothes, different context. She understood. She was just another maid now. Welcome, he said in Korean, Mrs. Choi translating. I hope you'll be comfortable here. Laura's voice came out steady, professional. Thank you, sir. He gave a brief nod, then returned to his laptop. Mrs. Choi ushered her out. Laura walked to her small staff room, closed the door, and slid down to sit on the floor. He doesn't remember. The night that had been playing on repeat in her head for 6 weeks, dancing, his hands on her waist, the miracle of him standing, didn't exist for him. She was nobody. Again. Get over yourself, Laura muttered. You're here to work. Save money. Leave. That's it. But her hands were shaking, and her heart wouldn't stop racing. Meanwhile, Min-jae had stopped breathing. The new maid, Laura, Mrs. Choi said, stood in his doorway and the world tilted sideways. It was her. Same heart-shaped face, same full lips, same warm brown skin that glowed under nightclub lights. Hair pulled back now, no makeup, wearing a simple uniform instead of that borrowed dress. But it was her. Laura Johnson. The woman who made him stand, then vanished. Who his entire organization couldn't find for 6 weeks. She was here, in his house, wearing a maid's uniform and looking at him with polite, professional distance. She doesn't recognize him. She was drunk that night. The club was dark. He was just another face, another random man in a wheelchair. She doesn't remember. Thank you, sir, she said, and her voice was exactly like he remembered. The moment the door closed, Min-jae grabbed his phone. Taehyun, my office. Now. His second-in-command arrived in 3 minutes. Sir, the new maid. Laura. Run a full background check. I want to know everything. Everything. Where she's been for 6 weeks. Why she's here. How she ended up at this estate specifically. Min-jae's hands were shaking. And nobody tells her I'm looking. Nobody. Taehyun's eyes widened with understanding. It's her. The woman from the club. Yes. She doesn't recognize you. No. Are you going to tell her? Min-jae stared at the closed door, at the space where she'd stood, at the possibility that just walked back into his life. Not yet. If she knew who I really was, what I do, What I am, she'd run. And I just got her back. Sir, this is. Keep the investigation quiet. And Taehyun? She stays. Whatever she needs. Whatever it takes. She doesn't leave this estate. That night, Laura delivered fresh towels to his bathroom. A normal task. But Min-jae watched her move around his space and tried not to stare. She was real. She was here. She reached for something on a high shelf, stretching, not quite tall enough. Need help. The words escaped before he could stop them. She looked at him. Really looked. And for a second, just a second, something flickered across her face. Recognition? Confusion? Then it was gone. I've got it, sir. Thank you. But she was struggling. The shelf was too high. Min-jae grabbed the armrests of his wheelchair, tested his legs. Nothing. Dead weight. Just like the last 6 weeks. Actually, Laura said, turning around, if you could just. She crossed to him, leaned down, placed her hand on his shoulder for balance as she reached past him to grab something. Her touch. Electricity shot down his spine, through his hips, into his legs. Muscle response. Nerve endings firing. Sensation flooding back like a dam breaking. He could feel his legs. Laura pulled back, item retrieved. Thanks. She left. Min-jae sat alone in his room, staring at his legs. He tried to flex his foot. It moved. Just barely. Just a twitch. But it moved. She was back. And so was the miracle. Laura's first week at the estate was torture dressed up as employment. Her job was simple, clean, organize, stay invisible. She was good at invisible, 20 years of practice. Except staying invisible around Min-jae was impossible. Because he kept requesting her specifically. Can Laura help me today? Small things. Reaching books from high shelves. Adjusting his chair position. Bringing afternoon tea. Tasks any staff member could do. Tasks that required her to be close. And every time she got close, every accidental brush of hands, every moment of steadying him, she saw it. A muscle twitch in his leg. A slight movement in his foot. Things that shouldn't be possible for someone with complete paralysis. Your leg just moved, she said one afternoon, caught off guard. Min-jae glanced down. Phantom sensation. Happens sometimes with old injuries. Right. Phantom. But his eyes held hers a beat too long, like he was daring her to question it. Week 2, Laura brought breakfast to his room at 7 a.m. He was already awake, working. Always working. Coffee, she announced, setting the tray down. Thank you. He didn't look up from his laptop. Laura should leave. That was protocol. But she found herself asking, do you ever sleep? Min-jae's typing paused. He looked up. Sleep is overrated. So is martyrdom, but you seem committed to both. A tiny smile tugged at his lips before vanishing. Are you always this blunt with your employers? Usually I get fired before week 3. You're stuck with me until then. I'll try to endure. It was banter. Just banter. Normal boss-employee interaction. Except it didn't feel normal. It made both their hearts race. By week 3, Min-jae was losing his mind. Every morning, Laura brought coffee. Every morning, he pretended he didn't spend the first hour waiting for her footsteps. Every afternoon, she hummed while cleaning some R&B song he didn't recognize but now heard in his sleep. Every evening, she asked if he needed anything before finishing her shift, and every evening, he wanted to say yes, stay, don't leave, but instead said, no, thank you. And every moment she was nearby, 2 rooms away, in the garden, anywhere within the estate grounds, his legs worked. He'd been practicing in secret during late nights when the house slept, gripping furniture to stand and walk. He could make it across his room now, 20 steps before his legs gave out. But only when she was in the building. The moment Laura left the estate, grocery shopping with Mrs. Choi, errands in the city, complete paralysis returned like clockwork. This isn't medically possible, he told his private doctor. Psychosomatic, perhaps? A mental block that releases around certain stimuli. The stimulus is a woman. His doctor blinked. Well, That's less medical, more miracle territory. Min-jae didn't believe in miracles, but he believed in Laura. He was watching her now as she dusted shelves in his study, completely unaware that he'd memorized the exact shade of her skin in afternoon light. "You're staring," she said without turning around. "Busted. Sorry. Thinking. About work. About mysteries." She glanced back. "What kind of mysteries?" "You," he wanted to say. "Why you? Why my body responds to you? Why I feel more alive in 3 weeks than I have in 12 years. The kind without answers," he said instead. Laura turned fully, studying him with those warm brown eyes that saw too much. "You know what I think?" "What?" "I think you've been alone too long. I think you've forgotten what it's like when someone sees you as just you. Not the boss. Not the guy in the wheelchair. Just Min-jae." His heart stopped. "You don't know me well enough to. I know you work until 3 a.m. I know you read novels in 3 languages. I know you're funny in this quiet, unexpected way. I know your staff is loyal but terrified." She crossed to his desk. "And I know you're lonely. Because I recognize it. Takes one to know one." They were close now. Too close. Professional distance thoroughly demolished. "Laura, it's okay. You don't have to say anything. I just wanted you to know someone sees you." She left before he could respond. Min-jae sat in the empty study and tried to remember how to breathe. By month 2, Laura had built a dangerous routine. Morning coffee with Min-jae turned into morning coffee and conversation. They argued about books. She introduced him to hot Cheetos. He taught her basic Korean phrases. "This is inappropriate," she told herself every night. "He's your boss. This is a job. Nothing more." But it didn't feel like nothing. It felt like drowning in the best possible way. One afternoon, she was reaching for a book on the highest shelf, some French poetry Min-jae requested. She was on her toes, fingers brushing the spine, almost there. "Allow me." She froze. Min-jae was right behind her. She could feel the heat of him, smell his cologne, cedar, and something darker. His arm extended past her shoulder. And he was standing. Not leaning on his chair. Not gripping furniture. Just standing behind her, his chest almost touching her back. He grabbed the book. They were both still. Both breathing. Laura could see their reflection in the window, could see the way he was looking at her. "Got it," he whispered. She turned. They were inches apart. "You just stood up," Laura said. "Without help." "I know." Min-jae, how is that possible?" His eyes searched hers. "I don't know. But it only happens when you're here. That doesn't make sense." "I know." His voice was rough, raw. "But here we are." The air between them was electric. Laura should step back, should establish boundaries, should remember this was her boss, and she was just the help and nothing could happen. She didn't move. Neither did he. "Sir," Mrs. Choi's voice from the hallway. "The car is ready for your appointment." Min-jae stepped back, dropped into his wheelchair with the practice of 12 years. "Thank you, Laura," he said formally. She nodded, unable to speak, and backed out of the study like she'd been burned. Because she had been. And she wanted more. 3 days after the almost kiss that wasn't technically an almost kiss, Laura was delivering afternoon tea when the world exploded. Gunfire. Actual gunfire. Glass shattering, alarm screaming, her ears ringing from the explosion. The tray crashed to the floor, porcelain everywhere. "Get down." Min-jae's voice cut through the chaos. Laura dropped, crawled behind his desk. Min-jae was already there, out of his wheelchair, moving on his arms with terrifying efficiency. What the hell is happening? Her hands were shaking. Rival family are testing boundaries again. He pulled out his phone, spoke rapid Korean. Then to her, "Stay here. Stay down." More gunfire, closer now. Armed men flooded the hallways, Min-jae's security, organized, efficient. This wasn't their first war. Taehyun burst in. "Sir, safe room. Now. Status. 15 hostiles. Maybe 20. They're not breaching, just making noise." "What kind of noise?" "The kind that says you're vulnerable." They want to remind you. Taehyun's eyes flicked to the wheelchair. That you can't defend territory anymore. Laura's brain was screaming. Mafia. He's actual mafia. She'd been living with a crime boss. She'd been falling for a crime boss. Min-jae's jaw tightened. Get Laura to safety first. I'm not leaving you, Laura heard herself say. Both men stared. With respect, Miss, Taehyun started. Laura crawled to Min-jae, grabbed his arm. Stand up. Laura. They think you're weak. Prove them wrong. Stand up right now. His eyes searched hers. Then he nodded. She helped him to his feet. His legs shook, but they held. Taehyun's mouth fell open. Front entrance, Min-jae ordered. Now, walking through a siege while leaning on the woman you're in love with is either the bravest or stupidest thing possible. Probably both. Every step was agony. Every step was defiance. Laura's arm was around his waist, strong and steady. You're insane, she muttered. Legitimately insane. You asked me to stand. I didn't mean walk into active gunfire. Where's your sense of adventure? I left it back with my sanity and will to live. Despite everything bullets, chaos, war, Min-jae almost laughed. They reached the main entrance. His security flanked them. Taehyun opened the doors. 20 armed men in the driveway. Their leader stepped forward. Kong Min-jae. Heard you were recovering. Wanted to see for ourselves. Min-jae stood there, actually stood, visibly without support. The rival boss's face flickered with surprise and anger. As you can see, Min-jae said calmly, reports of my weakness were exaggerated. Behind him, 30 of his men appeared, armed and ready. The math shifted. The rivals withdrew like wolves with their tails cut. The moment they were gone, Min-jae's legs collapsed. Laura caught him barely. They both hit the marble floor. I've got you, she whispered against his temple. You're okay. His forehead pressed against her shoulder, trembling. Thank you. Taehyun was staring. How long, sir? How long have you been able to walk? Since she came here, Min-jae admitted. 2 months. 2 months? Taehyun looked at Laura, actually looked. It's because of her. Yes. Every guard was staring now at this random American maid who somehow made their boss walk again. They helped Min-jae to his room. Laura stayed while the doctor checked him over. Severe muscle fatigue, but no permanent damage. The doctor looked between them. Whatever you're doing, it's working. Keep doing it. The doctor left. Laura and Min-jae sat in silence. So, Laura said finally, Mafia boss. That's fun. Min-jae's lips twitched. You sound remarkably calm. I'm internally screaming. But I'm also from Texas, so crime adjacent isn't exactly shocking. She looked at him. You should have told me. Would you have stayed? I don't know. Probably not. She ran a hand over her face. This is insane. All of it. You standing. The miracle thing. The fact that I make it happen somehow. I know. What happens now? Now I ask if you want to leave. Because after today, you know what I am. What my world is. And I'll understand if. I don't want to leave. He stopped mid-sentence. You don't. I need the money. I'm stuck here anyway. And Laura took a breath. And you need me. Apparently literally. I do need you. His voice was quiet. More than you know. They looked at each other. The words hanging between them meaning more than physical therapy. We should establish boundaries, Laura said. Professional distance. This is still a job. Agreed. No more almost moments like in the study. Absolutely. We're employer and employee. That's it. Completely. Neither of them moved. I need to go, Laura whispered. All right. She stood, walked to the door. Laura. She turned. I'm glad you're here, Min-jae said. Even with everything. Especially with everything. Me too, she admitted. Then she left before she did something stupid. Like stay. 2 weeks after the attack, Min-jae was walking 15 minutes at a time with Laura nearby. The physical therapist called it unprecedented. The doctors were baffled. Min-jae didn't care about the medical mystery. He cared that Laura stayed, that she argued with him about American versus Korean food, that she made him laugh more than he had in a decade. He cared that he was in love with her and couldn't tell her because she worked for him, and he was Mafia royalty, and she deserved better than his dangerous world. He was working on this impossible equation when Taehyun entered. Sir, we have a situation. Define situation. Yoon Seo-jin is here. Min-jae's blood turned cold. Here as in Seoul or here as in. She's pulling into the driveway. Now, Laura was in the garden when the black Mercedes arrived. A woman exited, tall, model thin, wearing white like she was attending her own coronation. Perfect hair, perfect makeup, perfect everything. She walked like someone who'd never been told no. Laura was cleaning the fountain, very obviously staff, very obviously not in this woman's league. The woman didn't even glance at her, just walked into the estate like she owned it. Who's that? Laura asked Mrs. Choi. Mrs. Choi's face went carefully blank. That's Yoon Seo-jin, the boss's fiancé. The world tilted. His what? Fiancé. Arranged engagement from before his accident. She's been in Paris for 12 years. But now, Mrs. Choi trailed off meaningfully. Now he walks, so she's back. Laura felt sick. They'll marry within the year, Mrs. Choi continued, completely missing Laura's distress. It's expected. Our families have been allied for generations. Right. Of course. Laura's voice sounded normal, polite. I should get back to work. She walked away on autopilot, found herself in a bathroom, stared at her reflection. You're an idiot, she told herself. He's a crime boss. She's a supermodel heiress. You're a broke American maid. What did you think was going to happen? But she thought the way he looked at her meant something. She thought standing for her meant something. Get over yourself, Laura said out loud. This is a job. That's all it ever was. She went back to work, avoided Min-jae for the rest of the day. Didn't see the way he watched her leave every room. Seo-jin was exactly as Min-jae remembered, beautiful, cold, calculating. She kissed his cheeks European style, staking her claim. 12 years, darling. But I knew you'd recover eventually. Seo-jin. This is unexpected. Is it? You're walking again. Our families have been waiting. She settled onto the sofa like it was a throne. The engagement was never canceled. Just postponed. For 12 years. I needed time. Paris was good for me. She waved a hand. But now you're recovered, we can move forward. Wedding planning, merging our territories, the future our families always intended. Min-jae said nothing. Seo-jin's eyes narrowed. You don't seem pleased. You left when I was paralyzed. Disappeared for over a decade. What did you expect? I expected you to understand. I was 23, Min-jae. I couldn't spend my life caring for an invalid. She said it casually, like it was reasonable. But you're not invalid anymore. So here I am. How generous. She missed his sarcasm entirely. I'll stay here, of course. Get reacquainted. We should host a dinner, announce our plans officially. Seo-jin. Oh, and the household staff. She glanced around with distaste. We'll need to make changes. My people will handle the transition. More appropriate personnel. That's when Laura appeared in the doorway with his afternoon tea tray. Terrible timing. Your tea, sir, she said quietly. Seo-jin's gaze landed on Laura, assessed her, dismissed her. This is staff. She asked in Korean, then switched to English. You're the American maid, yes? Yes, ma'am. Seo-jin turned back to Min-jae. See what I mean? Inappropriate. We'll need people who understand their place. Laura's hands tightened on the tray, but her face stayed neutral, professional. Min-jae wanted to tell Seo-jin to leave, wanted to tell Laura to stay, wanted to flip this entire table and choose honesty over politics. But he was frozen between two worlds. That will be all, Seo-jin said to Laura, like she already owned this house, this life, him. Laura set down the tea and left. Min-jae watched her go and felt something crack in his chest. That night, Laura lay in her small staff room and stared at the ceiling. She should quit, pack her bags, find another job. But she couldn't afford to. She still needed at least 2 more months of pay to get home. And she hated admitting this, but she couldn't leave him. Because if she left, he stopped walking. She wasn't just his employee. She was his miracle. His medicine. She was trapped. The next morning, Seo Jean was at breakfast, sitting in Laura's usual spot across from Min-jae. Laura delivered coffee silently. Actually, Seo Jean said, I'll have green tea. And make sure it's the good jasmine, not that cheap stuff. Of course, ma'am. Min-jae's knuckles were white around his cup. Laura brought the tea, started to leave. Wait, Min-jae said. First word he'd spoken all morning. Laura, I need your help with something in the study later. Sir, I can help with whatever, Seo Jean started. I need Laura specifically. The air went tense. Seo Jean's smile was poisonous. How sweet. You've grown attached to the help. Laura escaped before it got worse. 3 days of Seo Jean in his house was 3 days too many. She was redecorating, planning their wedding, dismissing staff members she deemed unsuitable. She hadn't tried to dismiss Laura yet, but it was coming. Min-jae could feel it. We need to talk, he told Taehyun privately. I can't marry Seo Jean. Sir, the families. I don't care about the families. I care about, he stopped, couldn't say it out loud. The engagement is off. Your father arranged this before he died. It's been expected for 20 years. My father also expected me to walk. Things change. Taehyun was quiet for a moment. It's the maid. Laura. You have feelings for her. That's not. Sir, I've known you for 15 years. I see how you look at her. How you only stand when she's near. How you've been miserable since Seo Jean arrived. Min-jae said nothing. Confirmation through silence. If you break this engagement, Taehyun said carefully, there will be consequences. Political fallout. Possibly conflict with the Yoon family. I know. And Laura is staff. An American with no family connections. The organization won't accept. Then the organization can adjust. Min-jae's voice was steel. I've given them 12 years in a wheelchair. I've sacrificed everything for this family, this business. I'm not sacrificing her. Taehyun nodded slowly. Understood. I'll start preparing for the fallout. But before Min-jae could act, Seo Jean made her move. Laura was cleaning the guest wing when Seo Jean cornered her. Walk with me, she said. Not a request. They went to the garden, away from the house. You seem competent, Seo Jean started. For a maid. Thank you, ma'am. But you're no longer needed here. Laura's stomach dropped. I'm sorry. I'm dismissing you. 2 weeks severance. Mrs. Choi will provide references. Ma'am, if I've done something wrong. You've done everything wrong. Seo Jean's mask dropped, pure venom underneath. You think I don't see it? The way he looks at you? The way you look at him? I don't know what you. Don't play stupid. It's insulting to us both. Seo Jean stepped closer. He's mine. Legally. Politically. By every measure that matters. You're a distraction. A temporary amusement. Nothing more. Laura's hands clenched. Does Min-jae know you're firing me? He'll understand. Once you're gone and he realizes you're as common and replaceable as any other servant. I'm not. You are. You're nobody. An orphan playing dress-up in a world you don't understand. Seo Jean's smile was cruel. Go home, Laura Johnson. Before you get hurt. It wasn't a threat. It was a promise. Min-jae found out about the dismissal from Mrs. Choi. Miss Yoon has requested Laura's termination, sir. She asked me to process the paperwork. Absolutely not. Sir, Miss Yoon seems to think. I don't care what she thinks. Laura stays. He went to find Seo Jean. She was in what she'd started calling our room, the master suite she'd claimed. You tried to fire Laura. Seo Jean didn't look up from her magazine. I did fire her. She's leaving next week. No, she's not. Min-jae, she's inappropriate. Too familiar. The way she looks at you is none of your business. Now Seo Jin looked up. I'm your fiancé. Everything about you is my business. You're not my fiancé. Not anymore. Silence. Dangerous silence. Excuse me. The engagement is off. I'm not marrying you. Seo Jin stood slowly. You're breaking our engagement. For a maid. I'm breaking our engagement because you abandoned me for 12 years and now expect me to pretend it never happened. This will start a war between our families. Then it starts a war. Over her? Some random American with no background, no breeding, no value. She has more value in one finger than you have in your entire body. Min-jae's voice was cold, absolute. Leave my house. Today. Seo Jin's face contorted with rage. You'll regret this. My family won't accept this insult. Let them come. She stormed out. Min-jae stood alone in the hallway, felt his legs trembling. He tried to walk but couldn't. Laura wasn't in the building. She'd left for errands an hour ago. Without her, his legs didn't work. He dropped into his wheelchair and went to find her anyway. Laura was at a coffee shop 3 blocks from the estate, staring at a plane ticket home she couldn't afford yet when her phone rang. Taehyun. Laura, you need to return. Now. I'm off shift. It's not about that. The boss broke his engagement. Miss Yoon is furious. She's making calls to her family and Laura, please just come back. She was running before she fully processed it. He broke his engagement. For her? Because of her? She rounded the corner to the estate and stopped. Black cars everywhere. Men in suits. The Yoon family crest visible on several vehicles. Seo Jin's family was here for blood. Laura's phone rang again. Min-jae this time. Don't come back to the estate, he said immediately. It's not safe. What's happening? Seo Jin's family. They're demanding I honor the engagement. It's turned into a territory dispute. Because you broke up with her? Because I broke up with her for you. The world stopped. Min-jae. I know this complicates everything. I know I should have handled it differently. But I couldn't let her fire you. Couldn't let her dismiss you like you're nothing when he stopped. Started again. When you're everything. Laura couldn't breathe. Where are you? She asked. Laura, don't. Where are you? Front entrance. Negotiating. But it's fine. Taehyun has it under control. I just need you to stay away until. Gunfire. Through the phone. Distant but unmistakable. Min-jae. Laura was already running. Min-jae, answer me. The line went dead. Laura crashed through the estate gates at a full sprint. Security tried to stop her, but she dodged, ducked under someone's arm, kept running. The front entrance was chaos. 30 of Min-jae's men facing off against 20 of the Yoon families. Weapons drawn, but nobody firing. Yet. And in the middle, in his wheelchair because Laura wasn't there, Min-jae. Their eyes met across the courtyard. Laura, no, he started. She ran to him. Didn't care about the guns, didn't care about the politics. Just ran. Someone grabbed her arm. One of the Yoon soldiers. You're the reason. Min-jae's voice cut through like a blade. Touch her again and you die. The soldier dropped her arm. Laura reached Min-jae, dropped to her knees beside his chair. Are you hurt? I'm fine. You shouldn't be here. Shut up. She was checking him over, looking for blood. You broke your engagement. For me. Are you insane? Probably. Definitely. Her hands were shaking. They're going to kill you. They're going to try. Seo Jin's father stepped forward, an older man with cold eyes and power radiating off him like heat. This is the woman, he asked in English. This is who you chose over my daughter? Yes, Min-jae said simply. She's nobody. She's everything. The Yoon patriarch looked at Laura with disgust. You've destroyed a 20-year alliance. Started a war. For this. Laura stood to face him. I didn't ask for any of this. I didn't ask him to break your engagement. I didn't ask to be whatever I am to him. But I'm not leaving him. How noble. The sarcasm was acid. You'll die with him, then. If that's what it takes. Min-jae grabbed her hand. Laura. No. You stood up for me. literally and figuratively. She looked down at him. I'm standing up for you. Something shifted in Minjae's expression, wonder, fear, love. He stood, just pushed himself up from the wheelchair with Laura beside him, and stood. The courtyard went silent. I spent 12 years unable to walk, Minjae said, his voice carrying authority. 12 years of being told I'd never recover. That miracles don't exist. He took a step. Then another. Still holding Laura's hand. Then she walked into my life. And I stood up. Not because of medicine. Not because of therapy. Because of her. Another step. His legs were shaking, but they were holding. You want to kill me? Fine. But you'll have to go through her first. And I promise you'll regret it. Taehyun stepped forward. Then the rest of Minjae's men. A wall of loyalty. The Yoon patriarch stared, calculating the odds, weighing costs. This isn't over, he finally said. I know. My daughter's honor. Your daughter abandoned me when I was paralyzed. Her honor is her problem, not mine. For a long moment, nobody moved. Then the Yoon family withdrew. Slow, grudging, but they left. The moment the last car pulled away, Minjae collapsed. Laura caught him. Again. Always catching him. I've got you, she whispered. Always. They made it back to his room before Minjae's legs gave out completely. Laura helped him to the bed, sat beside him. That was the stupidest, bravest thing I've ever seen, she said. You ran into an active standoff. You broke an engagement and started a war. Fair point. They sat in silence, processing. They'll come back, Laura said quietly. The Yoon family. This isn't over. I know. People could die. Because of me. Because of us. Minjae took her hand, studied her fingers. Laura, I need to tell you something. About the night we met. She tensed. What about it? I remember it. All of it. The club. You dancing with me. The way you made me stand for the first time in 12 years. Laura's breath caught. You knew? This whole time. I recognized you the moment you walked into my study. But you didn't recognize me, and I thought, if you knew who I really was, what I do, you'd run. So I didn't say anything. Minjae, I'm sorry. I should have told you. Should have been honest from the start. But I was selfish. I wanted you to stay. Needed you to stay. Laura pulled her hand away, stood, started pacing. You lied to me. For 2 months. Yes. Let me think I was crazy. That I was imagining the connection. Yes. Let me fall for you while hiding the truth. Minjae was quiet for a moment. Are you? Falling for me? Laura stopped pacing, looked at him. That's what you got from that? It's the only part that matters. You're impossible. And you're avoiding the question. She crossed back to him, sat on the edge of the bed. Close enough to touch, but not touching. I'm terrified, she admitted. Of you. Of this. Of what I feel when you look at me like I'm the answer to every question you've ever asked. Laura. But yes. I'm falling. Have been falling since that night in the club when you stood up for me. When you trusted a drunk stranger enough to try. Minjae reached for her hand. She let him take it. I'm sorry I lied. I'm sorry I put you in danger. I'm sorry for everything except the part where you're here right now. You started a war for me. I'd start 100 wars. That's not romantic. That's concerning. Can't it be both? Despite everything, Laura laughed. You're ridiculous. And you're a miracle. His thumb traced patterns on her palm. My miracle. They leaned toward each other. Slow. Inevitable. The door burst open. Taehyun, face grave. Sir, we have a problem. The problem was bigger than anyone expected. The Yoon family wasn't just angry, they were mobilizing. Calling in alliances. 3 other families were backing them. This wasn't a skirmish anymore. It was war. We're outnumbered, Taehyun said, spreading maps across the desk. 4 families against us. Even with our alliances, the math doesn't work. Then we make it work, Minjae said. He was standing, leaning against the desk, but standing. Laura sat nearby, close enough for him to feel her presence. Sir, maybe we should reconsider. The engagement. No. If you just apologize to the Yoon family. No. Sir, I'm trying to keep you alive. And I'm trying to have a life worth living. Min Jae's voice was firm. I spent 12 years in a wheelchair being told what I couldn't do, couldn't have, couldn't be. I'm done living like that. Laura stood. Maybe I should leave. Just go back to Texas. Remove the problem. You're not the problem, Min Jae and Taehyun said simultaneously. The Yoon family's pride is the problem, Taehyun continued. They can't accept being rejected. Especially publicly. I was going to say for someone who makes the boss happier than I've ever seen him, Taehyun added. Laura blinked. Oh. But yes, also the class thing is a factor. Min Jae moved to Laura, took both her hands. You're not leaving. I won't survive it. Literally. Your legs. It's not about my legs. It's about my heart. And that only works when you're here too. That's the corniest thing I've ever heard. Doesn't make it less true. Taehyun cleared his throat. As touching as this is, we still have 4 families planning to attack us within the week. Then we prepare, Min Jae said. Full defenses. Call in every favor. Every alliance. We make it clear that going through me means going through everyone I'm connected to. And if that's not enough, then it's not enough. But I'm not giving her up. 3 days later, Min Jae woke up and immediately felt something was wrong. He tried to stand and couldn't, which meant only one thing. He panicked. Laura. No answer. He checked his phone. 6 a.m. She probably went back to her room. Except his gut was screaming something was wrong. Taehyun was running down the hallway and into his room. Sir, where's Laura? That's what I came to tell you. She's gone. The world stopped. Gone as in. Taken. 10 minutes ago. Security footage shows 3 men grabbed her on her way to the kitchen. Who? Yoon family. They left a message. They want you to come to them. Alone. Or she dies. Min Jae was moving before Taehyun finished. Where? Old warehouse in Gangnam. Sir, it's a trap. Obviously it's a trap. I don't care. We need a plan. Strategy. The strategy is I go get her. Now. Taehyun grabbed his arm. Sir, if you walk into that warehouse alone, they'll kill you both. Then we don't go alone. But I'm going. And I'm going now. 20 minutes later, Min Jae was in tactical gear in the back of an SUV, surrounded by his best men, every weapon they owned. His legs were trembling. Laura was too far away. He could feel it, the miracle fading with distance. I won't be able to walk in there, he told Taehyun. Then we carry you. They'll see weakness. They'll see a man who brought an army. Wheelchair or not, you're still the boss. They approached the warehouse, abandoned industrial area, perfect for violence. Min Jae's team scouted the perimeter. Sniper positions. Entry points. 15 hostiles inside. Laura's in the center. They're waiting for you. Then let's not disappoint them. Laura woke up tied to a chair in a warehouse that smelled like rust and terrible decisions. 3 men standing guard. One of them was the Yoon patriarch's head of security. He'll come for you, the head guard said. Kong Min Jae. He'll come. And when he does, we'll kill him. Then you. Nice and clean. You're using me as bait. Smart girl. He's not stupid. He won't come alone. Doesn't matter. We have 20 men here. He brings 50, we still have the advantage. We have you. Laura tested the ropes. Too tight. Why me? She asked. I'm nobody. Just a maid. You're the reason he dishonored the Yoon family. The reason he broke the engagement. The guard leaned close. You're the reason we have to kill him. This is insane. Over a broken engagement. Over respect. Power. Territory. Everything that matters in our world. He straightened. But you wouldn't understand. You're not from here. You're right. I'm not. Where I'm from, we call this toxic masculinity and suggest therapy. He backhanded her. Laura tasted blood, but smiled anyway. Hit harder. I've had worse from foster parents who were half your size. The guard raised his hand again. Gunfire outside. Everyone froze. then chaos. The assault was precise and coordinated. Min-jae's team breached 3 points simultaneously. Flash grenades, smoke, suppressing fire. And Min-jae, in his wheelchair, rolling through the front entrance like he owned the place. Because he did. Violence was his language. He just hadn't spoken it in 12 years. "Where is she?" he called out in Korean. Yoon's men fired back. Min-jae's security returned fire. The warehouse became a war zone. Taehyun was beside him. Center of the building. "I'll get you there." They moved through smoke and chaos. Min-jae saw Laura tied to a chair with blood on her face. Their eyes met across the warehouse. "Hey, handsome," she called out. "Fancy meeting you here." Despite everything, bullets, smoke, war, Min-jae almost laughed. "Need a ride home? If you're offering." One of Yoon's men moved toward her with a gun. Min-jae didn't think. Just stood, pushed himself out of the wheelchair through pure will and rage. Took 3 steps. Pulled his own weapon. Fired. The guard dropped. Everyone stopped. Stared. Kong Min-jae was walking. In the middle of a firefight. Away from Laura. It shouldn't be possible. His legs should be dead. But they weren't. How Taehyun breathed. "I don't know. Don't care." Min-jae kept moving. Toward Laura. Toward his miracle. The Yoon forces saw him walking and something broke. Their advantage, his weakness, just evaporated. They retreated in fear and disappeared. Min-jae reached Laura, cut her ropes with a knife, pulled her up. "You walked," she said. "Without me close. You walked." "I had motivation." He cupped her bloody face. "Are you okay?" "Been better. Been worse." She leaned into his touch. "You came for me. Did you think I wouldn't? I hoped you'd be smarter about it. Where's the fun in that?" She kissed him. Right there in the warehouse with smoke clearing and his security pretending not to stare. It was messy, tasted like blood and gunpowder. It was perfect. When they pulled apart, Min-jae tried another step. His legs gave out. Laura caught him. Of course she did. She was always catching him. "Okay, so maybe I still need you close," he admitted. "Good. I wasn't planning on going anywhere anyway." The war ended not with a battle, but with a phone call. The Yoon patriarch, facing pressure from other families who didn't want extended conflict, offered a truce. "Your engagement to my daughter is formally dissolved," he said. "You keep your territory. We keep ours. We agree to mutual non-aggression." "And Laura?" Min-jae asked. "The American is your problem, not mine." "She's not a problem." "That's a matter of perspective." They left it there. Uneasy peace. But peace. Seo-jin called one last time. "You chose her." "Yes. I hope she's worth it." "She is." "Then I hope you're happy, Min-jae." Genuinely. She hung up. And just like that, it was over. 2 weeks after the warehouse, Laura's contract with the estate officially ended. Mrs. Choi handed her the final paycheck. "It's been interesting having you here." That's one word for it. "The boss wants to see you in his study." Laura had been avoiding this conversation. This goodbye. Because now she had enough money for a plane ticket home. Her visa was extended. She could leave. Should leave. But she didn't want to. She found Min-jae in his study, standing by the window without his wheelchair. He'd been practicing, getting stronger every day. "You can walk on your own now," Laura observed. "For short distances. 10 minutes at a time." He turned. "It's progress. It's amazing. It's because of you." "No, it's because of you. Your determination. Your work. I was just everything. You were everything." He crossed to her. "Laura, your contract is finished. You have your pay. You can go home." "I know, but I'm asking you to stay." Her heart stopped. "Min-jae, not as a maid. Not as staff." He took her hands. "Stay as yourself. As the woman who made me stand. As the woman I'm in love with." The words hung in the air. Impossible. Real. "You love me." Completely. Terrifyingly. Since the night you grabbed my wheelchair and demanded I dance. That was drunk insanity. That was the bravest thing anyone's ever done for me. His thumbs traced patterns on her palms. You saw me as just a man, not a boss, not a cripple, just Min-jae. And you asked me to try. So I'm asking you to try. Try staying. Try us. Try building something that's just ours. I don't fit in your world. My world can adjust. I'm American. Broke. No family. No connections. You're Laura. Smart, brave, beautiful Laura who makes me laugh and challenges me and pulls me onto dance floors. That's all the connection I need. She was crying. When did she start crying? I'm scared, she admitted. Me too. What if it doesn't work? What if it does? They stood there, two people from different worlds, two orphans who found each other against impossible odds. Ask me again, Laura said. In 3 months. If we can survive 3 months together without trying to kill each other, I'll give you a real answer. Min-jae smiled. Deal. And we're dating. Actual dating. Like normal people. I run a mafia organization. Normal might be challenging. We'll figure it out. He pulled her close, kissed her properly this time. Slow and deep and full of promise. I love you too, Laura whispered against his lips. Just so you know, I was hoping. Shut up and kiss me again. He did. 1 year later. They returned to Velvet Underground on their anniversary. Same club. Same DJ. Different circumstances. Laura's wearing jeans and a leather jacket. Min-jae's in casual clothes, no suit, no intimidation, just him. He walks in without assistance. No wheelchair. No cane. Just his hand in Laura's. The club is packed. Ready? Laura asks. Always. They hit the dance floor like they own it. And maybe they do. This is where it started. Where a drunk American grabbed a paralyzed mafia boss and demanded he try. Where everything changed. The music pulses. Bodies move around them. But Min-jae and Laura exist in their own world. I'm not drunk this time, Laura says, spinning under his arm. Does that make it less magical? Makes it more real. Good. I like real. She laughs. Pulls him close. I love you, Min-jae. My grumpy crime boss who learned to walk because I asked him to dance. He kisses her. Right there in the middle of the club. Doesn't care who's watching. Marry me, he says. Laura stops dancing. What? Marry me. Let's make this official. Min-jae, we haven't even talked about. I know. I'm doing this backwards. I don't have a ring. Didn't plan some elaborate proposal. He cups her face. But I know I want every morning with you. Every argument. Every stolen blanket. Every moment of you being impossible and perfect. That's not a proposal. That's a statement. Laura Johnson, will you marry me? Around them, people have stopped dancing. Phones are out. Everyone's watching. Just like that first night. Laura pretends to think. Will you love me forever? You won't get tired of me? I can't, even if I tried. Will you promise to stop working until 3 a.m.? I'll try. Will you dance with me whenever I ask? Until my legs give out. Then yes. She's crying again. Happy tears. Yes, I'll marry you. Obviously. He picks her up. Spins her. The club erupts in cheers. They kiss in the middle of the chaos. Two people who found each other in the dark. Who built something impossible. Who proved that miracles exist if you're brave enough to stand up when someone asks you to dance. I should warn you, Laura says between kisses. I'm a terrible wife. I can't cook traditional Korean food. I'll embarrass you at formal dinners. And I'll definitely teach our future kids questionable American slang. Future kids. Oh, did I not mention? We're having 3. Maybe 4. Is that a proposal or a threat? Both. Can it be both? Min-jae laughs and the sound echoed through the club. It can absolutely be both. They dance until the club closes. Until the lights come up. Until the staff starts cleaning around them. Just like that first night. Except this time, when they leave together, they're going home. To their house. Their life. Their impossible, miraculous future. Laura grabs Min-jae's hand as they exit into Seoul's morning light. Hey, she says. Yeah, Thank you for standing up, for taking a chance on a drunk stranger. Thank you for asking me to try. They walked to the car. Minjae's steps steady, strong. No wheelchair. No miracle needed. Just him. Just her. Just them. The way it was always supposed to be. And that's the story, beautiful people. From a crazy night to a marriage proposal on the same dance floor where it all began. Sometimes love is quiet and predictable. Sometimes it's grabbing a stranger's wheelchair and demanding they dance. Both are valid. Thank you for watching this journey. Drop a comment telling us where you're watching from and whether you believe in miracles. Until next time.